Okay, so what's the purpose of the core values as a general lead in here? It's to give us some kind of a way, some kind of a map to get to our mission, right? It's to help us guide our actions, guide why we do the things that we do in our mission. So Reliant Pest Management, this is kind of going to be our tagline throughout the training and throughout the rest of the year. Friendly, exceptional, okay? So we don't just want to be good at pest control. We want to be friendly pest control people. We don't want to just be the guy that shows up every 2 months and does the job, or that they have to call every 6 months and complain about ants being inside. We want to be the people that they know without a shadow of a doubt are going to come out and take care of the issue as soon as possible, and that we're going to care about it and we're going to show them that care. Okay? Because I know when I was a technician, I cared about solving my customers' problems, but I'd say generally I cared more about getting home as quickly as possible. Right? That didn't mean that I shafted my customers, but I absolutely could have spent more time communicating with customers, making them feel like they were important as I thought I was, and as important as I thought my time was. I need to make sure that I show that to customers, and I think all of us could improve in that regard. So a focus on customers. Here's our definition here. We're committed to act customer first. ACT is an acronym for attentive, cheerful, and timely in all that we do, so that we build strong relationships that last for generations. Okay, so we don't just want to get a customer for a year as we sign up an account. We don't just want to have a customer that gets their initial service or a one-time. We want to convert that one-time into a long-term relationship, even if that's not on a recurring basis. We want them to call us and say, hey, I got a one-time 4 years ago, you guys did a great job, I need another one, right? That's building a relationship. No, we're not getting tons of annual recurring revenue out of that customer, but that's not the point. The point is they knew who to call 4 years later. And we do have some of those customers to certain extents, but we could absolutely increase our customer retention here. So some ideas with customers here. Customers, we've all heard this, customers are our paychecks, right? Alex doesn't pay us. He just directs money out of customers' accounts into our accounts as we earn those fees, right? So we need to keep that in mind. Every customer, even that annoying customer, Eric, that's right there on the lake, that's always yelling at you, that has you out there every 2 weeks for fire ants, and you can't do anything about it because he's so close to the lake, that customer is important as well. We need to show that customer that even though we can't do anything, we care about trying to help him, right? And, there's lots of customers that the office staff handles on a regular basis that are challenging to deal with. Recent examples I'm sure we're all familiar with, at least on the office side. But what? Yes.
You're welcome.
So Craig, do you want to fill us in on the details for that one?
She was great.
Fill us in. Fill in the group.
What an amazing detail that says everything.
That lady, I love her.
Does somebody else want to fill in the group on the details for that one?
Define love her.
Just like a passive-aggressive love.
Oh, she was a Terminex switchover. She switched to us for German roaches, and which was probably a red flag right away. But she there was no way to appease her, and that was didn't know that signing her up, but shortly after.
It became apparent.
And myself learned that there was no appeasing her. We could do reservices, we could do anything like that, but she was just, she was cray cray.
Yeah. Or the customers that look at this bag of bugs and it's literally just like crap they swept up with their broom. It's ridiculous. So, with that said, even those customers are important. Now, we may not have handled them super well. There may not be a great way to handle them, but they should at least feel like we cared about trying to solve the issue. Okay? Because if they walk away from us thinking that we didn't give a crap and we just wanted the money, then we're not doing them or ourselves any favors. That's not going to turn into a good customer experience that can pay dividends down the line. even if it can't today. So what is one customer worth? In 2018, this is not total cancellations for this branch. Okay, this is customers that were lost solely because competitors stepped in and took the customer. Okay, so generally we can say that maybe they had a better price, maybe they had more points of service, maybe it was just a big name and they wanted that big name. I don't know what the reasons were, but there was some reason that that customer felt like our service wasn't valuable enough to continue to pay for, and they wanted to move their money over here, right? So there may not be specific failures. It might be a little thing here, it might be a little thing there. It might be just a lack of wowing that customer, right? Or it might be the customer that's never ever home and who we can't build a relationship with, right? There's all those things. But we lost 219 just to competitors. All right, that's 7,200 to 8,400 if you take the quarterly by monthly statistic and match that out. Okay, so that's over $91,000 lost in revenue this year, or in 2018, just for that cancel reason. And that's $3,000 a year for every person in this room. Okay, so that's $3,000 of revenue, granted, but that's a lot of money that could have went into you guys' pockets as well. Those are customers, when you do this, 220 this year and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that, we're talking about millions of dollars over the last several years that we've lost just for this one reason. That's not move-outs, that's not they were unhappy with services, that's not the office or sales had problems, that's just competitors. So, are you raising your hand? Okay, you're like this.
That's Rashawn not getting a raise because we're losing that many customers.
Yep. So what are some ways that we can start to turn this around? Okay, so we're going to go into the acronym here, ACT. First one's attentive. So we're always going to be attentive to the needs of our customers. We're going to put forth effort to understand their concerns and their perspectives. That can be really challenging. That lady, what was her name again, Craig? Lang? Okay. Yeah, so that can be really challenging to understand her perspective, right? We had 4 or 5 different representatives that tried to understand her perspective and tried to help her out, all right? But we need to make sure that we're attentive. Most customers aren't going to be that challenging. Most customers, if we communicate with them for 2 minutes, we're going to be able to get into their mindset, see what their real problems are, and step in and solve those problems and then reassure them after we've done the actions that those problems are resolved, right? So the customer's perception is reality. Now, I'm not a proponent of their truth, just so that that's clear, but this is kind of that sentiment, right? So their perception is their reality. Whether you think that the bugs in the bag are a big deal or not, it is to them. How can you go about trying to resolve that concern? That's being attentive. Effective listening. So you have to listen before you can know what they need. Okay, you can't just jump in and know. You show up, it says roaches on the ticket, I'm going to get out and do my spray around the outside and be done. Because, yeah, maybe they are concerned about roaches, but there might be some other level to that you need to address on a customer service communication standpoint. Okay? And you won't ever know that if you're not truly understanding them, if you're not asking them appropriate questions, and if you're not listening to the responses. If you're standing there listening to your customer talk to you, and you're thinking about how you're going to respond to them, you're not doing them any favors. Okay? That's not how we want to communicate with our customers. We shouldn't always be trying to one-up them or jump in or interrupt. Let them peter themselves out talking to you. Let them get all their ideas out. That makes them feel valuable. That makes them feel important. You don't like to be interrupted when people are talking to you because they had a thought that they just need to get out right then and there, or else they might forget about it or whatever the reason is, right? You want to make sure that when people talk to you, you have a chance to have your ideas heard, and you need to give that same courtesy to your customers. That way you're showing them respect and their value in your eyes. All right, so there's a good meme here. I'm giving you excellent customer service if you would just shut up and listen. Okay? So this kind of comes down to the idea of their perception is what matters, right? It doesn't matter that you think you're giving them customer service. If they don't believe it, that's what matters. You need to figure out a way to communicate with them, listen to them, and understand what they need to feel like they're getting that valuable customer service experience. All right, some more attentive here. Empathy. Put yourself in the other person's viewpoint. See the problem from their point of view and understand their perspective. Drop the professionalism for a minute and realize that the person you're helping is another human being. Not a customer, but a human being in need of help. Okay? I think that's easy for a lot of us to forget sometimes, is that these people that pay our bills in the end are actually other people who they need help. They're calling us because they have pest problems, or they might not have a pest problem, but they have a concern or a fear of having pest problems. Then they would need those things resolved. How do you help someone that just has a fear of non-existent bugs? You do that differently than someone who has actual bugs at the moment, right? The fear one you're going to have to communicate with a lot more and differently than the person who actually has a bug who you can just go out and spray and be done and they're happy. All right, cheerful. So, put on a smile. That goes a long way. Who here knows what I do every time, almost every time I answer my cell phone?
Roll your eyes.
I probably roll my eyes, and then I put on a smile. Eric Gonzalez, you called me 3 or 4 days ago, and I answered the phone, and you said, "Are you okay, boss?" Do you remember that? I didn't put on my smile before I answered your phone call because I was in the middle of a lot of stuff and I was frustrated about having to answer the phone. I'm going to be honest about that. Okay? The next person that called me, I don't remember who it was, asked me, "Why are you so happy today?" Because I remembered to put on my smile. That smile came through the phone. Okay? And if you guys ever hear me sounding upset on the phone, it's because I forgot to put my smile on. I almost always, 97% of the time, put a smile on before I start to answer that phone, because otherwise people think I'm upset. You know, anyone who's met my dad says that he has a resting angry face, right? And I kind of have the same thing. Well, my voice sounds that way over the phone. And so if I'm talking to a customer trying to save them, but I'm not smiling as I do it, I'm putting myself at a disadvantage, and I'm not coming across as the opposite of disingenuous.
Why does it always sound like you're sighing when I call in? Like,
Just, Bill, think about that for the rest of the day, and I bet you'll figure it out.
Okay, so, but that smile can seriously go a long way with people, okay? Nobody likes it when everyone walks in and they look upset or angry. It's much better to be in the workplace with Betty, who always is smiling, right? She is probably, I mean, I don't want to put anyone else down, but she's probably the happiest person I've ever met in my life. It's kind of ridiculous. But everyone loves Betty, and when Betty asks for a favor, I am going to do Betty's favor without hesitation, because she has built that relationship. She makes it easy to interact with her, and I want to not let her down.
Alex likes
Right?
Betty so much, he subconsciously paid her like way too much money one
$5,000.
Stay out of the company's finances. We'll get to integrity in just a little bit.
I've never heard this.
So, start with friendly words. Whether it's on the phone, or it's at the doorstep as you're selling, or it's as you're showing up for just a regular service and didn't even expect anyone to be home. What can you say that sounds friendly? Any thoughts?
Howdy, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. Okay. Howdy. All right. What else can you say?
Good afternoon, good morning.
Okay. Good afternoon. If you just start with, "Hey, I'm with Reliant, I'm here to do your pest control," is that friendly? It's professional, but it's not friendly. And I think that's what 90% of the service department in here does. "Hi, my name's Hayden, I'm here to do your pest control. You have any problems?"
I do. How do you mean?
Okay? That's not friendly. That's not what we're going for. We're going for our tagline, friendly exceptional, right? So figure out how you professionally and comfortably can be friendly with your customers, especially right there at the beginning, okay? What's an easy way to do that? Obviously have a smile and use the customer's name, okay? If you can't pronounce their name, ask them how to pronounce it. If it's crazy. If it's brown, obviously don't ask them how to pronounce that because you'll look dumb. What?
It's actually Brown A.
Brown A. Okay?
Your last name is Brownie?
But there's not a problem with asking someone how to pronounce their name. Okay? They'll appreciate the fact that you're taking the effort to use their name. And then if it is really a complicated name, put on the red notes or the location instructions how to phonetically say their name so that you don't have to ask them again the next time, right? Or if they tell you some detail about their life, you can put on there, has 2 Doberman pinschers. And then when they call, you pull up their account, you see there in the red notes or on the location instructions, you can say, hey, Miss Jones, how are your Doberman pinschers doing? Did they get out of the vet okay? Or whatever they brought up to you. They are going to love the fact that you cared enough and showed that care. Not just that you cared, but you showed them that you cared. Okay, you have to bring it up. You might care, but you have to show it to them. All right, positive language, positive body language, smile. Interact with everyone as if they are as important as you are. We all, hopefully, have a pretty high opinion of ourselves. Okay? If you don't, you should. All right? Because everyone in this room is valuable and brings something really important to the table. All of our customers are the same way, and they want to be treated as if they are important because they are. So use their name. That shows that you value them. Smile at them. That shows value for them. Even if you're just on the phone, smile. All right, so are you creating lasting, memorable impressions? Are you treating everyone as if they're your favorite celebrity or your grandma? If you met your favorite celebrity, would you be smiling? Would you want to shake his hand, her hand? Would you want to give him a hug? Don't hug your customers. Okay? But you would want to be friendly, right? You would want to get the most out of that interaction with your favorite celebrity. Treat your customers that way. And they will respect it, and they will be your customers forever. And then the next time you bring up how they need mosquito service for whatever problem they're having outside, they're going to buy it from you. You won't even have to sell them. They'll just want to buy because they'll know that whatever you're trying to do for them is for their benefit because you care, and you've showed that over and over. All right, timely. Response times play a large role in customer satisfaction and is arguably the biggest contributor to customer retention. If it takes us a week to get out to a customer that's having ants inside their kitchen, crawling all over their kid's birthday cake, that's not showing that we care, and it's not being timely to solving their concerns. Customers reach out when they have a perceived problem, and it is always real to them. Customers contact you when they need quick help. Don't waste their time. When a customer reaches out, how long does it take for you to follow up? When you get that call from the office saying, hey, Miss So-and-so wants to know when you're going to be there, and it's 8:15 in the morning and it's your 14th job. None of us know what time we're going to get there at that point. But we could call the customer and say, it'll probably be in this time window and I'm happy to give you a 30-minute call ahead. And we don't wait 2 hours to make that call, right? Office staff, same kind of concept there. Sales, when you tell someone that you're going to come back later that night when their wife wasn't home and they need to talk to their wife, do you do that? Or do you let that possibly slip through the cracks? Do you say, oh, it's too dark, I spent too long at the last house, I can't do it anymore? All right, so here's a clip we're going to watch.
26. You know your teams, you know your mission.
All right. Yes. Best presentation ever.
He's pretty good at that, right? Adventures and game. Rated PG-13.
Can I help you? Name, please.
Seinfeld. You made a reservation for a mid-size, and she's a small. I'm kidding around, of course.
Okay, let's see here.
66 years old?
Yeah, well, he's in perfect health.
say that? I hate everybody. Why would I like him?
What do you think? Could you go out with a 66-year-old woman?
Well, I'll tell you. She would have to be really vibrant. So vibrant, she'd be spinning.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have no mid-size available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservation.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. So you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold it. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
Let me speak with my supervisor.
Here we go. The supervisor. You know what she's saying over there?
What?
Hey, Marge, see those two people over there? They think I'm talking to you. So you pretend like you're talking to me. Okay, now you start talking.
Oh, you mean like this? So it looks like I'm saying something, but I'm not really saying anything at all?
Now you say something else, and they won't yell at me because they thought I was checking with you.
Oh, great. I think that's enough. See you later. I'm sorry, my supervisor says there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, it looked like you were in a real conversation over there.
We do have a compact if you would like that.
Fun.
All right. Well, we have a blue Ford Escort for you, Mr. Seinfeld. Would you like insurance?
Yeah, you better give me the insurance because I am going to beat the hell out of this.
Please, fill this out.
Yeah.
Give it to him, at least he's honest.
So, what was the problems in those videos? In that video there?
Everything?
A lot of things.
Really well.
That was a very real video to me.
Yeah, that's at this point in our society and with a lot of our dealings with businesses and companies, that's how we feel about the entire transaction. We wanted something in particular, they didn't have it, then we kind of start throwing a little bit of a fit, they go with the manager, we still don't get what we want, and then we end up leaving upset, right? That's how a lot of our customer interactions go. Not within Reliant necessarily, but whether you call Comcast or AT&T, you're going to get kind of the same runaround. Comcast, why is my bill going up by $6 again? Right? Well, let me talk to my manager. No, there's nothing we can do about it. Thanks. Hang up. What? Pest Pack, yeah. All right, so that's not who we want to be. Reliant Pest Management with a question mark. That's not what we want. All right, so real experiences. I'm going to share a couple of my real experiences here real quickly. 2 days ago, I noticed that I had a huge leak coming out of one of my sprinkler heads. Okay, it had been pouring out for a while, but I just tracked it to that sprinkler head. I assumed it was my next door neighbor, but it wasn't. So I noticed that it was leaking. I called 7 irrigation companies within 30 minutes of each other. Okay, this was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 of them answered the phone. 5 did not. 2 days later, I've only talked to 4 of those companies. The other 3 have not even bothered to call me back. Okay? One of them that answered the phone right off the bat, I said, hey, here's my problem. I need someone to come out and look at my irrigation system, and it's 2 zones that aren't working. When can you guys come out? Well, let me first just tell you that it's going to be $85 an hour. Okay, I have no idea what that means, right? I don't know if $85 is the going rate for irrigation stuff, right? So right off the bat, $85 an hour. Was that a focus on the customer? That was a focus on, I don't want to talk to you if you're not interested in buying our service, or if you're not going to be able to afford our service, right? I want to get you off the phone as soon as possible. Now, she in her own mind might have genuinely thought she was providing good customer service by not wanting to waste my time. But that is not how I think most people are going to perceive that experience. So one company had a great phone service. They called me back within about 30 minutes. The guy talked to me on the phone for about 20 minutes about my problem. Gave me pricing, talked me through how I could maybe handle it. He was even willing to stay on the phone with me and talk me through how to maybe manually adjust it myself, right? So that was really good, but he couldn't come out till Friday. So I had appointments with these other companies already. One company came out yesterday. They gave me a bid. It was in line with what this guy had told me, and I let them do it right then and there. But I promise you, the next time that I have an irrigation issue, I'm going to call that other company, because they did such a good job on the phone. They convinced me that I won't even bother calling any other companies because I probably won't get called back, and this one's going to take care of me. Even though they didn't get the money this time, they'll get it the next time. So concrete companies, I had someone drove off of a driveway and broke off a chip of concrete on the driveway a year or two ago. I called 5 concrete companies and never got a single call back from any of them. Okay, so that was frustrating, to say the least. Now, waste management. Alex, you had an experience with them recently. If you can just briefly explain what happened there.
Can you see that picture? Whoops.
That's our dumpster.
With our dumpster in the back. So we pay waste management, look at my notes, I want to say it's $125 a month that we pay waste management for that dumpster in the back. I got a bill in the mail that was $500 and something, and I thought, well, that's kind of high. So I looked at the bill and it says you had 2 violations. And underneath it said, yeah, there's photo evidence if you want it. So I asked Daniel. Usually I wouldn't put up a fuss over something like that. But I asked Daniel. Daniel was like, and you guys know how Daniel can be opinionated. And Daniel's like, honestly, those guys are ripping us off. And that you shouldn't pay that. So I went to their website and it said, if you have any problems, reach out to us. So I submitted that I wanted to see the photos, and I gave them the account number. And it took them, I want to say it was 8 days later, that I got this email back from Miss Zarkia Shaw that has 2 pictures of garbages. And did you guys think, do those look pretty, how full are those to you?
Pretty full.
Too full.
It's
What's
not,
that?
It's not running out. It's getting
It's
worse.
still above the.
Correct. So that, yeah, I would agree. I try to be a reasonable customer, right? To me, it is. It's too full. But is it overflowing? I mean, is it crazy? No, it's not crazy, right? So anyway, so I email, no response. So 10 days later, I sent a follow-up email to her, just saying, hey, what's going on? Her response back was, I sent 2 long paragraphs that were worded, trying to have a good relationship with her. She says, the standard price for an overages is $125. That's the standard price. And that was it on her response. So at this point, I'm feeling like, okay, you're like slapping me in the face when I sent this long email kind of expressing my frustration. So I call, the lady on the phone says, you need to tell your people to pack that garbage down. That's not our job. It's not our guy's job when he's out there to pack your garbage into the container. And then I said, well, okay, I'm happy for us to take responsibility to do that. But I didn't know that before. What can we do to fix the situation? She says, well, it's in your contract, is the line she used, which we would never use that at Reliant, right? Anyway, but yeah, she went straight to that. So I said, hey, honestly, at this point, the way I've been treated, like, I want to close my account. I just don't like, the approach here. And I end up getting transferred to the manager, and the manager, the first thing he says is he looks at the pictures, like, these bins are, are you kidding me? These are stacked beyond belief. Like, these are way too overloaded. And this is before, again, trying to solve me or understand anything about my frustrations. And so, make a long story short, what he did is he waived one of the fees, and it had me pay one of them because he said he could only waive one a year. I'm a pretty reasonable guy, and I don't want to waste my time with something like that. All that had to happen at the beginning is an email saying, hey, we get that you're frustrated. I understand where you're coming from. Here's our best solution. We want to take care of you, and I would have just rolled with it. But the fact that from the get-go, you could tell that every one of them was annoyed that I was calling them in the way, not just what they said, but how they communicated with me, made me genuinely feel like just out of principle, I need to stick it to these guys. And so anyway, as far as examples go, 1 to 2.5 stars, I mean, their customer service was so bad that I felt like I was talking to a government agency.
Yeah. So I looked at every waste management facility in the Houston area, and the highest I could find was 2.5 stars for waste management. Okay. So,
for our dumpsters every week.
but there was one that had 10 reviews, and all 10 of them were 1 star. Okay, so that just kind of shows you that the experience that Alex has is typical of their company.
Trashy service.
Yeah.
The puns.
So this is the Jaffe Medi Center. They do LASIK eye surgery. I brought this up in the manager thing and in a service department meeting one time. But I wanted to bring this up because this is the exact opposite of Waste Management and these other 3 companies. This company, I was there for an hour and a half or so, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. They were talking to me or my wife directly. Someone was in front of us for 50 minutes of that time, okay, 50. And from the moment we walked in, there were smiling faces. There were people concerned about us, wanting to make us have a good experience. There's coffee over there. There's water. Can I get you anything? You know, we do need you to fill out these forms, but we want to make it as painless as possible type thing. Then we get back in the room. People, they're talking, they're asking us about our kids, our lives, you know, why we want LASIK. They are genuinely concerned. They're expressing that concern. So throughout this whole experience, we're getting this experience. And then you can tell 1,000 reviews, 4.9 stars. Okay? That is a business that cares about their customers. Okay? Now, we have 4.8 stars on Google. We have 4.0, I think, still on Yelp. You know, we can improve that. But these reviews are not the only thing that says what we are as a company and how we've been doing, right? They're just one of the ways that we can kind of measure that. But you can just see between Waste Management and the Jaffe Medical Center, there's a huge difference there. And it all comes down to how their people treat their customers. It's not even necessarily about the LASIK, right? That they got a good LASIK procedure. It's about how the people felt when they were there. All right, this is going to be the last thing I'll go over here.
Let me tell you something. I don't know what military base these people trained at, but I'm not mad at them. You got 4 people outside with handhelds, okay, under umbrellas. You got 2 people outside the drive-thru to greet you with your food. It be ready. I was in the line 3.5 seconds. That was to order, pay, and get my food. Baby, let me tell you what kind of training they doing. They is in the military in Chick-fil-A. I'm telling you, they have some training that they're doing, and I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them. I don't understand why I go to Popeyes and I got to wait on hot chicken when all you sell is chicken. Don't let me get started on Burger King. Okay? But Chick-fil-A be killing it. They have a military base that they train out of. I'm convinced. And I just appreciate the professionalism. It's hard to tell out here, but they smiling. Gee, may I help you? Hello, Miss Carissa. How do you know me? Because I communicate. Communication is the key. Fries hot. I didn't even check my bag. And if it's a mistake, then that's what I was supposed to have. That's what I Y'all, but I'm emotional right now because in the day we live, people don't even like their jobs like that. But these people, they are on it. They got a scholarship fund, go in right over your condiments. They say that they give these people a scholarship fund. Take care of your people. Take care of your people and your people to take care of you. That's the lesson today. It comes through Chick-fil-A, but this is what's real out here in these streets. I'm about to eat with gratification. I didn't mind paying for that. I didn't even mind. Swipe my card. Swipe my card, Chick-fil-A. Whoo, I got a tear. These fries is hot. These fries is hot.
So, how many of your customers, after talking to you on the phone or at the doorstep or during their regular service, would go out of their way to make a video and post it on YouTube about how great you were?
I think I got a couple.
Okay, you might have 1 or 2. How can we get that up to 50 or 100? that would be willing to do that? We're not asking for them to do that, but how many of them would be willing? How many of them would be happy? Or, going back here, if I see American roaches, that's what I'm supposed to have. Okay, how many of your customers would be like, well, if I have a problem, I know Aaron's going to be back in about 2 weeks. He'll take care of it then. Gabriel's customers would have done that. 100%. Gabriel Cabrera's customers did that all the time. And you know how I know? Because as soon as he left, his callbacks in his area exploded for 3 months. His callbacks went from 7, 8, 10% up to nearly 30% as soon as he left. People stopped trusting that they were going to be taken care of because Gabriel was gone. Okay, so how many of your customers would respond to you that way? So, to wrap this all up, be genuinely committed to providing more exceptional customer service than anyone else in your industry. This commitment has to be so powerful that everyone can sense it. Okay, they can feel it. You're showing it to them. It's not just there. All right. Any questions? Awesome. All right, so we're going to go to a break real quick, get snacks, go to the bathroom, get a drink.
Yeah.